morning, everybody. Is it working? Yes, it is. Good. Hi there. I'm here. I'm paying attention. It's Tuesday, not Wednesday, because sometimes I get those mixed up. And today it's we're going to talk about a little trip south of the border. Yes, the borders are bypassed the border and went to Guatemala to see what the Guatemalans are up to and see if she can tide or stem some of the tide of Guatemalans, I guess, and people in the, what do they call that triangle? The some triangle, not the Bermuda Triangle, but you know what I mean? That area down there where we seem to be getting a lot of questionable immigration. What's a good word for this? I don't know. Illegal aliens from. Anyway, so we'll talk a little bit about Kamala's trip, and we'll talk a little bit about the more news on the insurrection. Plus, there was an interesting Supreme Court decision regarding immigration. And check DMs for a news story. Is it the Pennsylvania one? I saw that one. There's a couple that I saw. Northern Triangle. Thank you, Renee. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it. So anyway, we'll get that and more and whatever else I can come across. And well, I have got plenty of tabs open already. So we'll get it started in just a minute. Johnny, wake up. Yeah, play the intro. Yeah. Now. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawgKnight. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear myself. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Tuesday, the 8th of June, 2021. Car payment day for the big dog. And so I got to remember to do that sometime today. And by the way, so yesterday, my lovely daughter showed up at the end of the stream, and she used one of her alternative handles to subscribe to the channel. But she seemed kind of bummed because the show was finishing up, right? The show was almost over. And so she was going to put something in the chat and didn't get to do it. And then I had to run to work my other job. And as I'm driving around, I noticed that I had a message from her. So I checked the message and I called her back. And she was going to announce the fact that she is now officially engaged. She and Jess popped the question, and they're so yeah. My daughter's he's officially her fiance now. So now I don't have to say my daughter's future fiance or something or like to that matter. Now he's my daughter's fiance, and we really like Jess. So we're so happy. Lady Boomer and I. So excited. They're probably gonna I assume they're gonna get married next fall. I think she said she wants to get married in the autumn, like early fall. So and probably isn't gonna happen this year, but they're probably gonna do it next year. And so yeah, I am so happy because we love Jess. He's the best. He's the best guy that she's ever dated. She's dated some nice guys and some guys that we didn't care for, but we really like Jess, and we're so happy that that's gonna happen. So we're like I said, I'm just ecstatic. In fact, there's the party horn for that one. So yeah, we're excited about that. That was great news, and it's just and she called me and Lady Boomer yesterday and called the grandmas and called everybody that who's close in the family, and so we're excited. So if she pops in, I don't know if she's gonna pop in today or not. I think she actually has to work today, but anyway, so congratulations to my lovely daughter Alyssa, and I'm looking forward to their wedding and so on and so forth and everything that goes along with that. So yeah, we're very happy about that. All right. Yes, and also let me. In fact, Gun Fox, I am going to pull up that article that you sent me because we'll make sure we get that into the lineup today. There we go. So I got that. And anyway, so let's get into the show. First, of course, I have to say good morning to everybody because that's what I do on the Morning Night Live. First in the chat today, very adeptly and quickly was Mr. Mike Savage, Blarg, who gets the bell. And thank you for making it here first on the show this morning. I'm glad you're here. Also, of course, GunFox61, the administrator of our our Discord server for the channel, and we greatly appreciate him. And yes, that Amazon article is very interesting. Also, good morning, Tarai Deos, Jen T, what's up? Renee Mayette, Attack Alpaca. Let's see, Sands in the house. Also, Keenan, good morning. Let's see, as I scroll down, Tarai Deos. Did I already say Tarai Deos? I think I did. But I'll say it again. Hi, Tarai Deos. Also, Justin Anderson. Nice to see you here. Also, Select a Boy.
Yeah, boy.
And People's Front of Canada. Amy in Connecticut. Dawn Davis. Hello. GM from Cambridge, Minnesota. Oh. Wait. Oh, good morning from Cambridge, Minnesota. Oh, I know where Cambridge is. That's a nice little town. Nice to see you here. Also, good morning to... Oh, wait a minute. Is this Dawn from... Are you Dawn from the trail stop? Did I meet you at the trail stop, maybe? Maybe, or maybe not. I'm not sure. Anyway, also, good morning, Lord Stanhope. Let's see, I said Mike Savage already. Who else is here? Oh, Advocatus Diablo, the Devil's Advocates in the house. And I think I'm caught up to just about everybody. Do I got everybody there? And anyway, all right, so, oh, and Pincalo, what's happening? Can't get the smell of beef jerky marinade off my fingers. It's driving me crazy. So apparently Pincalo's been using the smoker and marinating some beef for some beef jerky. So cool. All right, anyway, so again, good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're all here. So I was just, I was perusing the internets this morning. No, not me. Okay, well that's okay, Dawn. That's okay. There's oh no. They were from they were from Cannon. There was a Dawn from Cannon Falls that knew one of the guys I work with. Anyway, never mind. All right, so let's get into the show. So our vice president and border czar, Kamala Harris, took a little trip to Guatemala. And I noticed this morning that Lester Holt was trending. Now, I didn't know why Lester Holt was trending, but the reason Lester Holt is trending is because Lester Holt had Kamala Harris in an interview on the Today Show. And so he had some interesting questions for her, but the one question that seems to have stood out amongst the masses is this question that Lester asked her, right? Yeah. Here, listen to this. This is an interesting question because a lot of people, I'll play it and then I'll let you decide if you might have had the same question for Kamala Harris.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point,
Now, that pause... Guess what? When I saw this, it noticed she's about to start doing that laughing thing, even though she doesn't. She holds back at doing it because I think someone finally told her it looks a little silly, but that's okay. We're just gonna go. Okay, so wait a minute. I'm gonna go back because I wanted to make sure you hear the whole thing.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border.
Now, let me ask you something. We've been to the border. Well, let me finish first.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand
Yeah,
the
there's
point
that
that you're
laugh. But wait a minute. I haven't been to Europe. And I don't think anyone appointed you to be the Europe czar. And the issues are at the border, and you're in charge of the border, right? So I'm just trying to figure out what that answer means. But let it.
making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because even I know Republicans have certainly.
Now, and Lester tries to bail her out by saying, well, Republicans have been saying this and yada, yada, yada. Yes, the Republicans have pounced. But hey, wait a minute. Hold up. The issue is not just Republicans. I think he'll as he finishes this sentence, you'll see.
Come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Cuellar, as a border district, has said to you and the president, come. You need to see this.
Listen, I care about what's happening at the border. I'm in Guatemala because my focus is dealing with the root causes of migration.
Is it now?
There may be some who think that that is not important, but it is my firm belief that if we care about what's happening at the border, we better care about the root causes and address them. And so that's what I'm doing.
Well, I think that's a good point, sort of. But let me ask y'all something. So she's in Guatemala, and they're talking about throwing a bunch of money down there and whatnot. But if the people are running from such dire conditions in Guatemala and Honduras and what's the other one, Ecuador, and because the governments there are corrupt and everything's happening down there, what's the deal with why are we giving them more money? Because if they're just corrupt governments taking the money and they're not helping the people, how are you helping anybody? And it's funny because I remember remember the little girl that they had the picture of, she was with her mother when the former president was president, the president with the funny hair, when he was president, and there was all the border troubles, and then there was this girl, right? And she was with her mom, and she's crying, and they're with the border agents, and then they photoshopped the little girl standing in front of Trump, looking down at her, and we find out that actually she wasn't fleeing Honduras because of any crisis or anything where she would need amnesty. In fact, she left and didn't tell her husband that she was leaving, and she took the daughter and with her, and he had a good job working at the what do you call him, he had a good port job, and they had a nice and she just decided up and leave. It's not that all these people are coming up here because they can't make it where they are. They're just seeing the golden, they're looking for the golden sidewalks in the United States of America. And I have no problem with that if they do it the right way, I suppose. But and it's so funny because speaking of this, her not being going to the border. Oh, I've never been to Europe. Well, I know a time when Kamala Harris has been to the border. In fact, it was when that same president with the funny hair was president. And she went down there because she was down there protesting what did they call them? Kids in cages. Remember that? In 2018, she went down to the border, made a big speech right in front of the border wall, and she was talking about the horrific conditions in these well, they called them, concentration camps then, but now they're, migrant welcome facilities now, and they're busted at the seams now. And so, yes, there's a crisis that she could go to the root cause in Guatemala, but that's not where the crisis is right now. The crisis is in the former concentration camps now known as migrant welcome facilities. And maybe, just maybe, she should be going to the border too. I mean, look, how long they've been? How long ago did he make her the border czar? It was at least 3 months ago or 4 months. She said that. It's like, yeah, I'm putting her in charge of the border. But she's talking about not having been to Europe. Well, no one's put you in charge of European relations. They put you in charge of the border. So you'd think you'd go to the border. Am I at a rant right now? I think I kind of am. Anyway, it's just a thought. Not a thought, but a thought. Not to be confused with a thought you'd find on Instagram. Anyway, good morning, Grillin' Pirate Pete. Good morning. Why are you so angry? Yes, that's a name, not a question. And also, Infamous One and Reese Donald. Nice to see you dropping by, and I'm so happy you're here. By the way, if any of you are new here today, please, as you're thinking about it, well, as I'm talking to you about it right now, hit the subscribe button and click the little bell thingy. And also, while you're at it, if you're not, because most of you already subscribed, I already know that most of you already subscribed, but if you also would be so kind as to click the like button if you like what we do, and the share button, share the stream out with the people you know and the people you don't know on your favorite social media. Just 3 clicks will get you there if you hit the little share arrow. And then if you want to sponsor the show, you can do that through the Streamlabs. Those little links are popping up in the chat every once in a while, and also the YouTube super chat links down there. And there's other stuff you could do in the description down below. And that'd be very kind of you to do that. Now, I noticed that I also see, as I was doing this, I got home a little late this morning, so I'm not. Alone's in the house too. Always lost and nothing else. The right way is single file line, no running, no rushing, no illegal crossing. You'll be shot. You know, it's funny, by the way, because her solution in Guatemala, when she went down there, she just said, what was the thing she said about just don't come? I don't know. Chef James, what's happening? Nice to see you. So anyway, all right. So look, you know what I need to do, because I didn't do this, and I hate doing this in the middle of the show, but I gotta put I didn't put the tweet out, so I got to do this. In fact, if you follow me on Twitter, by the way, which is at PDawgKnight, all my social media, whatever you up here, that right there, basically any social media, you can find me at PDawgKnight. Twitter, mine's Gabs, Cloud Hub, Parler, and then also on video sites, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, Trovo, DLive, any place if you're trying to find me, you can find me in those places. Although I haven't done any live streaming on Trovo or DLive for a while because I'm just not the. It doesn't seem to work out as well as I'd like it to. So I'm going to try to multi-stream again at some point, but I need to figure out my settings a little better. What the heck am I doing here? I need to figure out my settings a little better. But let's do this. Let me do this quick tweet real quick. Is streaming live now? And I need what's the link here? So anyway, please share the stream and do all that other stuff that we ask you to do all the time, because that's what all us YouTube people ask you the same questions, and you should know the drill by now. There we go. Copy, paste, tweet, and let's get it out on the other guys. I'm trying to do the first line of Purple Haze here. If you caught that and what I just said and how that fit into what I was just doing, congratulations, you have a musical mind. Anyway, all right, there we go. I got it on. We got it in there. Let's put it on Minds. Yes, it's always fun to watch me do the. Oh shoot! Did I just do what I just did? Yes, I did. Let me fix that. Migrating to Obama's favorite novella. Thomas Cleaver, good morning, sir. How are you? My friend from New Zealand is in the house. Everyone say hi to Thomas Cleaver. All right. I'm almost done with this nonsense that I should have done earlier. Sorry, guys. I just don't feel right if I don't do this, though. So, anyway, we do have several other stories regarding the vice president's trip. So here we go. I do have, by the way, the entire interview with Lester Holt in the tabs today. By the way, if you're new here, also every day at the end of the show, I take all the links and news stories and whatever, and I put them into one link that'll be in the description down below called the One tab, and it'll have links to every story and video that we do or talk about today, plus some things I don't get to. For example, we're not going to watch the entire Lester Holt interview. but it's fascinating. So let's get into a little more into Kamala's trip. There's a couple funny things about it. One was the fact that when she arrived in Guatemala, there were a bunch of pro-Trump protesters that welcomed her. She went to Guatemala to discuss the migrant surge. She blames climate change, of course, and the economy. The Guatemalan president blames the Biden administration. There's a little disconnect between what the two world partners believe. Former President Donald Trump supporters welcome Vice President Kamala Harris to Guatemala with less than flattering signs. Harris is in Guatemala to discuss America's border crisis. President Joe Biden chose her to lead the charge to slow down the migrant surge. Harris has not done anything to secure the border. She's gone over 70 days without a press conference to address the problems. One side told Kamala to mind her own damn business. Okay, it didn't say damn, but it said that. Another demanded she go home. And Kamala Trump one stated one sign held up by a few people. Now, I don't know if those are expats or Guatemalans or whatever, but it's still pretty damn funny. Anyway, and there's a story about that in the Florida press. Well, I have that link to that one too. The Floridian Kamala gets greetings. Kamala Harris greetings in Guatemala. So here's one: Kamala, mind your own business. Kamala, go home. Kamala, Trump won. And I don't know what this one is. Let's see what this is. I'll leave the tweet out here too. But I want to see this last one is. It's pretty. Anyway, let's just say that she got a weird welcome down there. Oh, here we go. It says no constitutional reforms. Guatemala is pro-life. Momala help me. Lawfare. I don't know what the hell that means. But anyway, yeah, Guatemalans are pretty strong Catholics too. So anyway, many people have blamed Biden's administration for the border crisis. Harris's staff claimed climate change and the economy played the biggest part in the recent surge. Guatemala President Alejandro Giammattei will likely laugh at her face because he blames Biden's policies. Quote from, this is from Fox News. But in an interview aired Sunday, Giammattei said he and Harris are not on the same side of the coin on the issue and blamed what he saw as a more welcoming message to migrants by the new administration for the surge. The message, quote, the message changed too. We're going to reunite families. We're going to reunite children, he told CBS News. The very next day, the Coyotes were here organizing groups of children to take them to the United States. Oh, see? Now, we've been saying this for a long time, that the message is, I got a new follower on Twitch. Well, that's weird. Okay. The Biden administration likes to blame the Trump administration for what's going on at the border now, or just it's a seasonal surge. But the president of Guatemala is saying, you made that message that we're going to reunite families, so the Coyotes come down, get the children to get over the border. Remember how big the surge of unaccompanied minors are, right? And so those kids get over there, and then they're like, oh, well, we need to reunite them with their parents. And then, oh, well, let's just let the parents come over and be reunited with their children. Well, they're here now. Let's just let them stay. Yeah, not good. Wait, what about Johnny Cash? Wait, Guatemalans are very nice people. Yeah, I bet they are. Anyway, so the president also said, we asked the United States government to send up more of a clear message to prevent more people from leaving. So she did say to the Guatemalans, if you're thinking of coming to the U.S.-Mexico border, notice she says the U.S.-Mexico border in that speech too. She didn't say to the U.S. She said to the U.S.-Mexico border, she says, well, don't come. I'm sure she told Willie Brown that a couple times. But anyway, I should not have said that out loud. I'm sorry. What is this thing? Let's see. Here it is.
Sure. America's foreign policy is in the global spotlight.
Okay, we're not going to listen to that. It's too long. 6 minutes. We're not going to listen to 6 minutes of this. So anyway, let's just move on. So again, I'll leave the tweet of the pictures from her arrival and then the article from the Floridian too, just the different messages she got. moving on. Vice President's off. Oh, and then this thing too. Did you hear about the Kamala cookies? I bet Willie Brown's heard about them. Anyway, I didn't say that out loud again. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Anyway, so the Vice President's office on defense after faceless Kamala cookies go viral. I just don't want to hear about no Kamala cookies. I just don't. Anyway, the Vice President's office clarified a decision by Kamala Harris to hand out cookies with her likeness on them to reporters in an off-the-record visit during her trip to Guatemala. Now, before I even read any more of this stupid article, is this... Now, remember I told you the other day how Kamala Harris is playing right out of the Barack Obama playbook. Remember when we were talking about how on just before the weekend of Memorial Day, on Friday before Memorial Day, and she wrote out she tweeted out, enjoy the long weekend or something like that. Be ready to enjoy the long weekend without even mentioning Memorial Day. And she put that picture of herself in the tweet. So it's literally the Vice President tweet with this, kind of sideways pictures of her looking a little bit glamorous and stuff, and just enjoy the long weekend with a picture of her. Like, okay, what does a picture of you have to do with me enjoying my long weekend? And I said at the time that it's very similar to how Barack Obama used to do holidays or someone's birthday or some event, where he would say something about the event and there would always be a picture of him doing something remotely related to that event. So if it was someone's birthday or someone, you're commemorating a birthday or whatever, it'd be a picture of Obama in the White House looking at a picture of that person. For example, let's say it was Martin Luther King's birthday or something, and it would be a picture of Barack Obama looking at a picture of Martin Luther King, like as if it was about everything that he put out was about Barack Obama. And so I said, well, that's kind of how it looked when Kamala Harris did that on Memorial Day weekend, where she said, enjoy the long weekend. It has a picture of her, right? Well, this cookie thing is so Obama-esque too. I could just see someone in the Obama administration handing out cookies of, with Barack Obama's likeness. Anyway, in a statement to reporters on Background on Monday, the Vice President's office said that the cookies were a gift from a staff member to the team, marking her first foreign trip as the Vice President. Cookies that were provided to passengers on Air Force Two on Sunday were a gift from a member of the staff. Yeah. The staff that works for Kamala Harris. Statement to reporters read, the Vice President wanted to make sure the cookies were shared with everyone. Yes, we wanted pictures with your image on it to be shared with everyone. By the way, isn't that getting a little cozy with the White House press corps? Anyway, USA Today White House correspondent Courtney Subramanian shared a photo of the cookies on Twitter on Sunday, which immediately drew fire from the Vice President's political opponents. Oh, well, even Breitbart is saying that Republicans pounced. Anyway, so here's the picture of the cookie with their likeness with no face on it and whatever. Handing out cookies with her face on them as border crisis rages, RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDonald wrote on social media, the modern day equivalent of let them eat cake. Instead of trying to fix the Democrat-made Biden border crisis that's wreaking havoc on our southern border, Kamala Harris is commissioning cookies in her likeness, the NRCC wrote on social media. Anyway, that's kind of funny. Hello, Ham and Beans. Nice to see you. Hello, Faithless. What's up? Nice to see you back. Also, Moonbase Radio's in the house. I'm so happy y'all are here. Happy Tuesday, by the way. Again, just a reminder, hit the like button if you like what we do. 32 people in the house, 20 likes. We're getting there. Okay, good. All right. Now, Representative Byron Donalds from Florida, a freshman Republican in the House of Representatives, says that Biden's weak border policy allows cartels to make $5 billion with the B dollars in human trafficking. Following his recent trip to the U.S.-Mexico border, House Representative Byron Donalds, Florida, said the weak policies of the Biden-Harris administration were allowing the cartels to make about $5 billion a year in human trafficking, and that they need to reverse their policies immediately. On Fox and Friends, June 7th, Representative Donald strongly criticized President Kamala Harris' recent trip to Mexico and Guatemala. The answers aren't down there in Guatemala because the cartel is actively recruiting, said Donald. They're making about $5 billion this year trafficking people across our southern border. And so you don't have to go down to Guatemala to know what's actually going on. What's going on is the administration's weak policies allow the cartels to make billions of dollars. It's that simple. If it's hard for the cartel to make money, they're not going to allow people to be trafficked across the border, said the representative. If the cartel does not allow for people to be trafficked across the border, Border Patrol will not be overwhelmed and we can secure our border. So it starts with the president, it starts with our vice president. They need to reverse their policies immediately. Now, I'm not 100% sure what, specific what policy he's saying, but I got to tell you, what they're doing ain't working. The big invite by the Biden administration, even though technically it wasn't a big invite, probably didn't help at all, right? And even the president of Guatemala says, "Hey, as soon as you made that statement, here come the coyotes, recruiting people to take across the border." Anyway, now here's an interesting thing. We said the other day that it's fascinating. All of the sudden 9-0 decisions from the Supreme Court lately. And I think the Supreme Court, someone said that they were sending a message to the Democrats saying, hey, you know what? Knock this silliness of you packing the court just right out of your heads right now. Okay? We're making a whole bunch of 9-0 decisions to show you that the court is unified and you probably just don't need to mess with us. Okay? And this opinion, also the fascinating thing about it, it was written by Elena Kagan, a 9-0 Supreme Court decision rejecting Liz Warren's subversion of immigration law. On Monday, the Supreme Court unanimously rejected an illegal immigrant's attempt to twist immigration law and create a loophole that would allow thousands of illegal immigrants to become lawful permanent residents. Democratic senators and attorneys general advocated for this loophole, but a liberal justice wrote the opinion for the unanimous court. Again, this is a don't even think about messing with the court, Democrats. Petitioner Jose Santos Sanchez entered this country unlawfully from El Salvador. Years later, because of unsafe living conditions in that country, the government granted him temporary protected status, TPS, entitling him to stay and work in the United States for as long as those conditions persist. Associate Justice Elena Kagan, an Obama appointee, wrote in the opinion, Sanchez now wishes to become a lawful permanent resident of the United States. The question here is whether the conferral of TPS enables him to obtain LPR, or lawful permanent resident status, despite his unlawful entry. We hold that it does not. Ooh, the Supreme Court is actually reading the laws as they are written. Yes! In Sanchez versus Mayorkas, Kagan noted that U.S. immigration law applied according to its plain terms prevents Sanchez from becoming a LPR, lawful permanent resident. There is no dispute that Sanchez entered the United States in the late 1990s unlawfully without inspection. Yet Democrats and immigration activists twist the law to argue that if illegal immigrants obtain temporary protected status due to violence or bad conditions in his or her home country, he or she can be considered admitted for the purposes of obtaining LPR status. While TPS does not protect illegal immigrants from removal and authorizes them to work in the United States as long as the TPS designation lasts, the court rightly ruled that this provision does not erase a person's unlawful entry into the U.S. for permanent residency status. Kagan's conclusion is blunt. U.S. law, quote, generally requires a lawful admission before a person can obtain LPR status. Sanchez was not lawfully admitted, and his TPS does not alter that fact. He therefore cannot become a permanent resident of this country. Hardest hit is Senators Mazie Hirono, Richard Blumenthal, Ed Markey, Elizabeth Warren, Sheldon Whitehouse, and Representatives Diane DeGette, Adriano Espelant, Darren Soto, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz in supporting Sanchez's claim. Democratic attorneys general for Washington, D.C., Massachusetts, California, and 17 other states also backed the illegal immigration loophole. Kagan's opinion represents a blunt refutation of this sleight of hand attempt to undermine immigration law. And Jonathan Turley has some thoughts and whatever, so on and so forth. So a 9-0 decision written by Elena Kagan? I'm just saying, the Supreme Court's not messing around right now. I think they're trying to not just send a message, they're trying to show that, hey, they're going to take these cases where they're going to have 9-0 decisions where the Democrats can't say, oh, it was a 5-4 decision, it was just the Republicans, or it was a 6-3 decision, just the conservatives on the court. No. They read the law and said, hey, no, this is how our law is written. This is how we're going to play it. You want to change the law, you better go change the law. But you ain't changed the law yet, so we're not changing the law just because some of you senators and representatives came and were on the side of this guy who came to the country illegally. Good for them. All right, real quick. Good morning. It was in the house. Fantastic. And also, I think I already said ham and beans, but hi again, ham and beans. All right, let's keep going. Oh, yeah, this is an interesting story. And so the Daily Caller's Jorge Ventura captured footage of a group of over 30 migrants being apprehended at the border while on the ground in the Rio Valley in Texas. Around 2 a.m. in La Jolla, Texas, the group of migrants included several unaccompanied minors who were apprehended by Border Patrol on Military Road, a common area for illegal crossings. The agents handed the migrants water and face masks and split up the group between unaccompanied minors and family units. This scene plays out every day and night in the small town of La Jolla. The youngest unaccompanied minor in the group was an 8-year-old boy from Honduras. Quote, "They are in the United States," the 8-year-old boy told the Daily Caller when asked where his parents were. In March, almost 19,000 unaccompanied minors reached the southern border. A pregnant migrant woman with 2 small children told the Daily Caller her journey from Honduras started almost 2 months ago. The woman said she couldn't ride a train or bus in Mexico because the police were arresting migrants from Central America. Several women in the group that were apprehended were pregnant, according to Border Patrol officials. The constant surge of large migrant groups apprehended after crossing into the U.S. takes up most of the Border Patrol resources in processing and transporting migrants, thus leaving the border more open for the traffic of narcotics and illegal crossings of migrants with criminal backgrounds. So it just gives you an idea of so a bunch of unaccompanied minors, pregnant women. So the anchor effect, if they do make it into the United States and have their child here in the U.S. Yeah. So anyway, and this kid here, let's see how long is this? Yeah, it's 4 minutes long. Wait, here, let's just watch this. I'm just curious about this. I didn't watch this earlier, but I am interested. Let's see if we can put this on the screen here.
Currently 1:15 in the morning, and this migrant group has just approached Border Patrol here in La Jolla. Some of the migrants are saying they're coming from Honduras and Nicaragua. And there's more trailing behind them. There are several children in this group. We have another one here. And now
you know what's fascinating here? So these people are just crossing the border, right? And they're just literally walking up to the Border Patrol and coming to talk to them. Isn't that weird to you? Thank you, GunFox61. First sponsor of the day, and GunFox61.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
Thank you, sir. With an almost 5, aka $4.99, saying I can make a DMZ style wall, gun towers deep in the river, add some Crocs and other stuff to make sure no one can cross illegally in one piece and deport all illegals and their kids. Yes. Thank you, Gunfox61. Always a huge supporter of the show. Greatly appreciated. Okay, the floodgates open, people. Drop them dimes. All right, let's go back to this. Let's go back to this video real quick here.
The Border Patrol is trying to now separate the unaccompanied minors with the family units.
It's like they're just coming up to get help from the Border Patrol now. It used to be that the illegal migrants, they'd see the Border Patrol and they'd be running, right? 1-877 cars for kids. Donate your car today. What are you talking about? Okay, something's going on here. Oh, so those senators should all be deported with him. Oh, well, there you go. That with the dude that the Supreme Court said, no, you're going home, buddy. All right, let's keep going.
And right behind me, a group of 27 migrants just walked up to Border Patrol, and Border Patrol is now apprehending and beginning the process. And we're speaking to some unaccompanied minors. They say they come in from El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua, and that there is more migrants in behind them. So we're going to go and maybe try to find those migrants. We actually have some migrants here up to this group.
I mean, this
Here's
is like,
5 more, so I'll take the group over 30.
You're the next contestant on the Border Patrol separation.
Actually, it looks like it's 6 of them, and this mother's holding two children. Hola, señora. ¿Este es Honduras o Salvador? O? ¿Necesita ayuda? Sí. Ellos tienen agua. She looks like she really needs water and help. Ahí tienen agua ahí, señora.
She's carrying a baby, has a little boy. My goodness.
Ocho.
¿Y viniste solo?
Sí.
¿De Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua?
De Honduras.
¿De Honduras? ¿Y tus padres a dónde están? ¿Y tus padres a dónde están?
En México.
Okay, so look, he didn't answer right away. He's been told to say they're already in the U.S. I'm betting you. I can't imagine that he's not answering. Otherwise, he's almost like, see how he's hesitating, almost as though he's not supposed to tell where his parents are. Unbelievable. This is sad.
¿Dónde están tus padres?
En México, aquí.
¿Aquí está? ¿En Estados Unidos o en México?
En Estados Unidos.
See, he's being coached.
Honduras de aquí. ¿Ya es más de un mes el paso? ¿O?
Tengo 22 días.
¿O 22 días?
22 días.
¿Y todo caminando? ¿No tren, algo así? ¿Bus?
Me viene en tren por rato.
¿Y te ayudó un coyote?
Coyote no.
¿No?
No, solo nomás.
Ok.
Solo nomás.
¿No hay dinero para los coyotes?
There isn't any money for the human smugglers. They spent almost 2 months walking because we couldn't ride the bus because the police would arrest us.
¿La policía de México?
The Mexican police, yes.
¿Por qué?
Yes. Why? They would arrest us because we are not Mexicans and shoot us.
Tengo 8.
¿Tienes 17? ¿Y estás embarazada?
17-year-old and pregnant, yes.
¿Cuántos meses?
How many months?
So she
2
says
months
she's
pregnant.
2 months pregnant and she's 17 years old. ¿Es de Honduras o Nicaragua?
Honduras.
And she's from Honduras.
There's a lot of people from Honduras in this group. Take it easy, Select Boy. He had some nice kicks. Oh, they're trading their shoes? What are they doing? Oh, they're just taking off their wet shoes, I guess. I don't know. Man, this is it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't even know what to say about it, man. It's clearly there's no concern. Just go walk right up to the Border Patrol because they know they're not gonna, they're just gonna, they know that there's a different policy. They're just going to help them and they're going to bring them in and then they're going to probably let them go once they process them, and then they'll never come back for a court date, and just is what it is. So Here's another shocker, or not a shocker. Illegal crossings from Venezuela are up more than 8,000%. Now, that's, okay, hang on. I always hate when they do this because 8,000% could mean it went from 1 to 80. Okay? But still, the fact they're up more than 8,000%, that's concerning. You read that right. Customs and Border Patrol reports that 10,864 Venezuelans have crossed the border this fiscal year, which began in October 1st, 2020, in just the Del Rio sector. The Del Rio sector covers 47 counties and 245 square miles along the Rio Grande in southwest Texas. Last fiscal year, the number of illegal immigrants from Venezuela was 135. So that's significant. Went from 135 to 10,864. Epoch Times reporter Charlotte Cuthbertson tweeted a video of Venezuelans in Texas waiting to get a lift by CBP, Border Patrol, to a processing center. One is seen on his phone utilizing his international phone plan. That's fascinating. So here's the... I mean, they have some... One dude's on his phone back there. Apparently it's the same drill every time people cross illegally. Welcoming troopers hand them water and granola bars. The immigrants relieve themselves in the tall Carrizo-Cane reeds, and they're soon picked up by Border Patrol and driven to processing centers, then released. If you want to know why Kamala Harris hasn't gone to the border, it's because she doesn't need to. Things at the border are just operating just as the Biden administration wants them to. More than 119 illegal immigrants from 70 countries have been apprehended, quote unquote, in the Del Rio sector alone so far this fiscal year. In just one sector. Since October, 119,000 just in this sector. Many of the illegal Venezuelans told the Epoch Times their route to the U.S. involved flying to Cancun, then to Monterrey, Mexico, before crossing the river into Del Rio. Some came through Colombia. Most Venezuelans carry more belongings than people coming from Central America. A large portion of them plan to settle in Florida, where they have family members. There's one of those Biden please let us in shirts. All right, so that's enough about the border stuff for today. Let's switch gears a little bit. As soon as that goes away. So it's just a couple of news items in Portland. Apparently, they're finally going to indict some of these Antifa people, not the kind that crossed over the channel on D-Day, but the Antifa knuckleheads in Portland. After a year of anarchy and unchecked violence, prosecutors... Oh, wait a minute. Scrolling. There we go. After a year of anarchy and unchecked violence, prosecutors are finally doing something about Antifa's rolling riot in Portland, Oregon. These last 2 weeks have seen more than 24 suspected Antifa thugs charged for an assortment of violent crimes dating back as far as November. It shouldn't have taken the whole year of watching protesters pelt police with Molotov cocktails and destroy local businesses to realize that the do-nothing strategy wasn't working, but here we are. It's a notable turnaround for District Attorney Mike Schmidt, who after taking office last August refused to prosecute 90% of riot and protest-related cases. At the time, he claimed that change sometimes takes property damage and that it requires more than just a peaceful protest to get the government's attention, but dozens of deaths, hundreds of injured cops, and billions in insurance damages across the country seem to have changed his tune. I'm not convinced, okay? Until Mike Schmidt actually prosecutes somebody, I'm not convinced, okay? He's been arresting people for the last couple of years and still letting them all go. But anyway, so it'll be interesting. Charges against 10 suspected Antifa were announced on Thursday alone, mostly for vandalism around Election Day and Inauguration Day riot. Several more face federal charges. Well, and also because they Oh yeah, Faith. It's only because they were the ones that destroyed a DNC building. Yeah, they attacked the Democratic headquarters of Oregon, and so those are the first ones they're starting to prosecute. So anyway, moving on. We also got Republican senators are asking for answers for the 2020 riots and the Capitol riot for the Department of Justice. Now, this is weird because you know that the Republicans, in my opinion, wrongly blocked having this January 6th commission. And I think it for me, I think even though the Democrats wanted to use this as a punching bag for Republicans coming into the 2022 midterm elections, I think also the Republicans could have used this in a similar way, highlighting violence all around the country and what the country is doing about it. Good morning, Uncle Bad Touch. Nice to see you.
Come on, man.
I know who you are. And Michael Hatfield, what's happening? But anyway, a group of Republican senators sent a letter Monday to Attorney General Merrick Garland demanding answers regarding the punishments for those who stormed the Capitol on January 6th and those who rioted over the spring and summer of 2020. The Daily Caller first obtained the letter, which was sent to the Department of Justice by Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, Utah Senator Mike Lee, and Florida Senator Rick Scott. In the letter, the group of GOP senators draw parallels between the treatment of the Capitol rioters to the treatment of rioters throughout the spring and summer of 2020 and call for clarifications on the punishment, because a lot of these people at the Capitol aren't getting bail. They're in really bad conditions, etc. And most of the other rioters for the summer have been letting go, including help by the Minnesota Freedom Fund, which Kamala Harris promoted for people to donate to. Anyway, throughout the spring and summer of 2020, there were nonstop protests and riots after the death of George Floyd. Cities were set afire and companies and small businesses were looted across the country. Republican senators asked, among other questions, how many people were arrested for committing crimes during the 2020 spring and summer riots? If federal law enforcement used geolocation data from defendants' cell phones to track rioters down, how many of the rioters were released on bail, and more? And here's some of the questions they have. One, should we go through these questions? So let's see how good. Oh, there's a lot of them. All right, let's check the questions, shall we? This might just take up a lot of time, but that's okay. Did federal law enforcement utilize geolocation data from defendants' cell phones to track protesters associated with the unrest in the spring and summer of 2020? If so, how many times and for which locations or riots? Number two, how many individuals who have committed crimes associated with protests in the spring and summer of 2020 were arrested by law enforcement using pre-dawn raids and SWAT teams, which they've been using against some of the January 6th protesters? How many individuals were incarcerated for allegedly committed crimes associated with protests in the spring and summer of 2020? How many of these individuals are or were placed in solitary confinement, which is happening with a lot of the January 6th protesters? Was the average amount of consecutive days, what was the average amount of consecutive days in such individuals were in solitary confinement? How many of these individuals have been released on bail? How many of these individuals were released on their own recognizance without being required to post bond? How many of these individuals were offered deferred resolution agreements? How many DOJ prosecutors were assigned to work on cases involving defendants who allegedly committed crimes associated with protests in the spring and summer of 2020? I think they're trying to make a point here. How many FBI personnel were assigned to work on cases involving defendants who allegedly committed crimes associated with protests in the spring and summer of 2020? Now they're going to ask, now here's the question. That's about the riots of spring and summer of 2020. Now the question's about the Capitol riot on January 6th, the one-day, 2.5-hour event that was an insurrection. For January 6th, same questions. Did they use geolocation data from defendants' cell phones? How many individuals committed crimes associated with the Capitol breach were arrested by law enforcement using pre-dawn raids and SWAT teams? How many individuals were incarcerated for allegedly committed crimes against Capitol associated with the Capitol breach? How many individuals are or were placed in solitary confinement? What was the average amount of consecutive days that individuals were in solitary confinement? How many of these individuals have been released on bail? How many of these individuals have been released on their own recognizance? Basically the same questions for both riots. So they're comparing and contrasting the disparate treatment of the various knuckleheads who are getting arrested for some of the shit they did. But are they getting equal treatment? Are they getting equal justice? Are they getting even Fourth Amendment rights or Fifth Amendment rights? I'm curious. And so are the senators. All right, so that was that letter. That'll be in the tab. If you want to read the entire letter, it will be in the tab. How many flat screens did they steal from the Capitol? They did get Nancy, what's her name? Not Nancy Lopez. Nancy Pelosi's laptop, though. Nancy Lopez. I met Nancy Lopez, by the way, back in 1986, I think, or 87. Very nice lady. Very prolific golfer. Anyway. Here's an interesting article on, is anyone noticing a pattern with the increase in, quote, random, end quote, attacks on white, Asian, and Hispanic people? Apparently, a 350-pound, large-breasted man pummeled a diminutive woman, actually two women, in Gardena, California over the weekend. Fortunately, the second beating was caught on video, leading to the suspect's arrest. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department released surveillance photo and video showing the shirtless man coolly walk up to a woman and brutally pound her. He then continued to hit her as she was on the ground. At one point in the video, he grabs her hair and slams her head against her car, then walks back to his vehicle. The unidentified suspect was arrested this weekend, and authorities say that he has a criminal history of violence and is on probation. He is also accused of attacking a woman in her car in Gardena, that's where my aunt lives, last Saturday. After the video was released, another woman came forward to say she had been attacked on the same day as the woman in the video. And so there we go. Well, here, do we really want to see this? I don't understand. So what? Does he literally just go up and attack her for no reason? He did. What the? Okay, I didn't want to watch it. I can't even watch it. Unbelievable. Yes, large-breasted man. He's a big fat dude with no shirt on. Anyway, My News LA had the audacity to fly this headline, quote, "Mystery motive for vicious random attack on woman pumping gas in Gardena. Suspect repeatedly punched her for no reason." Mystery motive? Random? No reason? How's this? The Democrats and lefty media demonize white people 24/7. Biden has black people believing gangs of white supremacists are patrolling pickups looking to lynch their kids. The left tells black people, you're a victim. Systemic racism and oppression are keeping you down, and white people are to blame. What happens when you tell people they are helpless victims? They lash out, increasingly at white, Asian, and Hispanic people. Wealthy, black, successful, yet oppressed race baiter Don Lemon of CNN said in a broadcast, quote, "We don't need their permission or their sign off on what we know to be true and what we have lived. This is white mansplaining. How can you solve this problem of systemic racism that is killing people of color if you won't even admit there's a problem? First step is admitting there is a problem. America knows which way the wind is blowing." Yeah, Don, the FBI knows which way the wind is blowing as per their two. Okay, I'm not going to get into this crime stats, but it's pretty clear that that's not the case. There's not roving bands of white people chasing me around. I'd beat their ass, first of all. Anyway, but I don't think it needs, it's true. If we're constantly being told we're a victim of racism, we're a victim of white privilege, you should be afraid of the cops because the cops are going to shoot you immediately if you do something wrong or whatever, you create an atmosphere where that certain demographic is going to be like, I need to get out ahead of this, and if I'm in a bad day, I'm going to blame that white woman pumping gas across the car for mine. That ain't right. You need to stop that shit. Anyway, all right, let's go. Oh, here's one. There's a subpoena. The feds have a subpoena to top Cuomo aides over the nursing policy and his COVID book. It's about damn time. Federal investigators have sent out subpoenas to Governor Andrew Cuomo's top aides seeking information pertaining to his nursing home policies and his $5.1 million pandemic memoir, the Wall Street Journal reported late Monday. The report said the Brooklyn U.S. Attorney's Office has asked for documents, including contracts and other materials used to pitch the book. American Crisis to his publishers. According to the Journal, the subpoenas were sent last month to people involved in early edits of the poor-selling tome, including state officials, because it's starting to look like a payoff. He ain't selling that many books because everyone knows about the nursing home thing. Anyway, the Post previously reported that federal investigators have questioned top Democratic lawmakers present in the now infamous February 10th meeting in which the secretary to the governor, Melissa DeRosa, admitted the Albany administration froze when the Department of Justice requested information pertaining to nursing homes last fall, withholding the data from the state legislators in the process. Oh, they froze? Is that what happened? They froze? I thought maybe the guy who's your boss said, wait, just see if you can, let's throw that in the back corner of the filing cabinet and just kind of misplace it for a while. See what happens. See if they'll accept that. And apparently the Fed did not accept that. There you go. Let's see. Anyway, you can get the rest, but good. Well, wait a minute. Is that good or not? Or is this some theater going on by the Brooklyn U.S. Attorney's Office? I don't know. Is a bus coming for Andrew Cuomo too, kind of like it is for Dr. Fauci? Anybody? What do y'all think about that? Do you think there's a bus headed in Andrew Cuomo's direction? Because he seems to be fighting that whole bus thing. I don't know. Anyway. All right, where was I here? We got rid of, let's see, that's, we got that. Okay, there. Oh, and apparently Cuomo's also set a vaccination goal. If you're in New York, if you're anywhere near New York or any of those governors like mine who tends to do whatever the governors on the coast do, he set a vaccination goal for lifting COVID restrictions and keeps indoor school mask mandate. Good God. Democratic governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, announced Monday that the most COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted when 70% of New Yorkers have received their first dose of COVID-19 stab. But the indoor mask mandate for schools will remain in place. The place where they need it the least, of course. Cuomo tweeted on Monday, the most remaining stupid 19 restrictions will be lifted when 70% of adult New York workers have received at least one dose of COVID. That's the same damn sentence. Okay, anyway, he said they're only 1.4% away from hitting that goal. So get vaccinated, get the stab. Well, that's pretty good. They've done a pretty good job in New York, at least getting everyone the first stab. It's funny because someone was bragging about how Canada, now 60% of Canadians have had their first jab, and how they're leading the charge amongst the countries around the world. Well, first of all, there's only 37 million Canadians. We've done 300 million doses in the United States so far. We're at about 45% of people who have completed the protocol, the 2 stabs. And I think for the most part, like 60 or 70% of Americans have had their first jab, but still, or at least there's no. Maybe it's not the first jab. I don't know. Anyway, and so I was looking it up, and I'm like, well, okay, so they've had their first, but what's your percentage of fully vaccinated people, which is still only about 28% in Canada, because they're focusing on getting everyone their first stab, and you might not be able to get your second stab for months on end. So it's just different methods of doing things in different countries that it's almost impossible to compare. Are you going to compare 330 million people with 300 million first stabs, or 300 million total stabs, where 43% of the United States has already had their first dose, versus a country with 37 million people that's only focusing on the first dose? You just can't compare the two. It's just they're apples and cucumbers as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so New York's pretty close to the goal, but this is weird though. The New York State health commissioner, I believe. Yeah, Howard Zucker says as we continue to reduce the spread of stupid 19 and balance reopening with safety, New York State strives for consistency across and between settings with similar risk levels and populations. The letter reportedly began. The current CDC guidance for K through 12 schools recommends a requirement for consistent and correct use of well-fitting face masks with proper filtration by all students, teachers, staff. It continued, there's no distinction between mask wearing for indoor versus outdoor activities. Really now, except for vague references to sports, and it does not address vaccinated individuals. As many camps take place on school grounds, both serve school-age children and the end of the school year start of the camp season both occur in June. New York State plans to align our school and camp mask guidance. Good Lord. When they say strives for consistency across and between settings with similar risk levels of populations. Excuse me? So the K through 12 have a consistency setting similar risk with similar risk levels and populations? The lowest risk people? And whatever. Anyway, welcome to New York. I feel sorry for you if you're from New York. All right, let's keep going here. HR1, the voter fraud, the Democrat voter fraud enhancement bill, also known as HR1, is an almost 800-page law with 15-page table of contents and a final section reaching 5 digits. The law is designed, as it says, to protect, quote, to protect the right to vote, to regulate elections for federal office and prevent and remedy discrimination in voting, and to defend the nation's democratic process. It's titled the For the People Act. Ooh, it's for the people, except not all people. A neutral observer might be surprised to learn that there's not a single congressional hearing or legislative factual finding demonstrating the need for any of the hundreds of provisions in this all-encompassing legislation. The full text of the bill was first introduced on January 3rd, 2019, and it was passed by the House barely 2 months later with no consideration by any committee. In a strict party line vote, it went nowhere in the Republican-controlled Senate. After the 2020 election, the House passed it again on March 3rd, 2021, this time by a closer 220 to 210 vote, but still with no committee considerations or legislative findings. Its supporters calls it the most comprehensive anti-corruption reform since Watergate, and Senate Democrats' leadership threatening to end the established filibuster rule requiring bipartisan support for the legislation so it could pass H.R. 1 before the 2022 election. Now, I'm just going to say this right now. This act or law or whatever is completely unconstitutional, and apparently the courts have already said that that's probably correct. If Congress were to enact such a sweeping law replacing election laws in all states, it would be doomed by a constitutional principle even the most liberal justices of the Supreme Court have recently endorsed. Wouldn't it be fascinating if they knocked this down on a 9-0 decision? Copyright law provides the most recent precedent for invalidating H.R. 1. In 2019, the Supreme Court heard a challenge to the 1990 law eliminating the sovereign immunity defense states had invoked if they were sued for copyright infringement. A photographer whose videos had been used by North Carolina without his permission sued the state, claiming the 1990 law removed its claim that it could not be held accountable in court for infringement. A unanimous Supreme Court, including the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, found the 1990 law unconstitutional because it was too broad. Justice Elena Kagan's opinion in Allen versus Cooper, issued on March 23, 2020, said the law violated the congruence and proportionality principle by which the Supreme Court had uniformly measured congressional legislation. The law swept too far, she said, and its indiscriminate scope was out of proportion to any problem Congress was seeking to address. Unlike H.R. 1, the 1990 copyright law was the subject of a congressional report, which the court still found inadequate and to sustain the law because it cited just 2 examples of patent infringement suits against the United States. In any sense, this article breaks it down to this shit's unconstitutional for several reasons. mainly because the Constitution already says that states are the ones who make the rules for voting in their particular states, and they can make their choices however they want to, and the federal government cannot interfere. So it'll be interesting how, if this does ever pass, which does look like, because Joe Manchin has already said he's not going to, he's already against this bill, and you only need one Democrat to sway, unless, of course, they con Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, who's the knucklehead from Pennsylvania that sometimes votes and stupid things. Anyway, if they get a Republican to join them, then they're screwed again. But it's a terrible bill, and it's going to be immediately rendered unconstitutional, in my opinion. All right. I got to move on, but first say good morning to the Asian Research Directorate. Good morning also to Maddie, and also Hig, 1966, and Sydney in the background. And anyway, oh, I'm sorry, Maddie. That's for you and Ronan. Let's see. Oh, yeah, the vice president's niece is at it again, flapping her lips. She accuses a Democratic senator, Joe Manchin, on voting to preserve Jim Crow. Pat Toomey, thank you, Gun Fox. I couldn't think of his name offhand. So, Mina Harris, the controversial niece of Vice President Kamala Harris, promoted a racially charged attack on Senator Joe Manchin over the weekend as liberals assailed the senator as a white supremacist.
Why the fuck you lying? Wow. You're fucking a white male!
I pressed the wrong one, sorry. For refusing to back their partisan agenda. Harris tweeted a Twitter tirade posted by Jamel Hill, the disgraced former ESPN anchor who described Manchin as a cowardly, power-hungry white dude who was complicit in upholding white supremacy. If you got nothing else, just call it white supremacy. So this is so on brand for this country. Record number of black voters show up to save this democracy, only for white supremacy to be upheld by a cowardly, power-hungry white dude. Joe Manchin is a clown. Harris and Hill were hardly the only libs to attack Manchin after the senator announced his opposition to the Democratic Party's radical election reform bill and reiterated his opposition to the eliminating the filibuster in an op-ed published in the Charleston Gazette-Mail. Quote, voting and election reform that is done in a partisan manner will all but ensure partisan divisions continue to deepen, Manchin wrote. With that in mind, some Democrats have again proposed eliminating the Senate filibuster rule in order to pass the For the People Act with only Democratic support. They've attempted to demonize the filibuster and conveniently ignore how it has been critical in protecting the rights of Democrats in the past. Yeah, between 2017 and January 2021, did you hear one Democrat complain about the filibuster, the one they kept using over and over during the Trump administration? I don't think so. They didn't. Nope, not at all. Anyway, Representative Mondaire Jones, New York, argued that Manchin's op-ed might as well be titled, "Why I'll Vote to Preserve Jim Crow." Gee, hyperbolic much? Ely Mistel, justice correspondent for The Nation, asserted that, quote, Joe Manchin doesn't care about black people. And congressional candidate Isaiah James called the senator a white supremacist just for voting against a bill. I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting there on Capitol Hill just waiting for Joe Manchin to kill the filibuster. I just don't think I can really muster any charity for the senator today, but I hope and pray that they will. 'Cause today that bill is still... Anyway. Mina Harris continues to be one of the most controversial members of the vice president's family. She is what most observers would describe as extremely online, combining generic left-wing activism with non-political content, such as her recent Instagram post asking followers, is it chiggy to post bathroom selfies? Is that jiggy? I don't know what the hell that means. Anyway, so I don't really give a shit what Mina Harris says. Thank you very much. McAllen, Texas. McAllen, Texas. One of those parts of Texas they thought was going to be one of those Democratic strongholds. Well, we talked about the citizens flipping the mayor's office by electing Republican Javier Villalobos. In February, Villalobos made it known he is not afraid to make the tough decisions that have to be made, which includes the border. I know you have heard of McAllen, Texas. It has been an overcrowded migrant facility, as shown by Republicans in photos and videos. McAllen, Texas flipped the mayor's office by electing Republican Javier Villalobos. By the way, Hispanics make up 85% of the population in McAllen, Texas. So and here's the thing, I know that the Democrats love to have these people coming across the border, but they got to realize the whole socialist wing of their party is a big turnoff to the people crossing the border. And not that they can vote, but even the legal migrants, not fans of that whole socialism thing that they keep popping up and talking about, even though, look, a vast majority of the Democrats are not socialists. They're capitalists who are drunk with power. But got to remember, these Hispanic populations are heavily Catholic and they're pretty conservative. They don't want socialism because their relatives and shit came from countries that shit didn't work, and they don't want to do the same shit here. So anyway, keep your phone put away in public bathrooms. Yeah, that is a pretty janky thing to do. All right, let's finish up here. We got also so all the progressives in the New York mayor's race. So could it be that the New York City mayor race indicates that the progressive project is over? Democrats are just figuring out their woke agenda driven by the progressive radicals in their party is not popular. Additionally, they are shocked to find out that treating various racer groups as monolith is not a winning strategy. According to a new report advising the party for 2022, the Democrats risk losing ground with minority voters. South Florida Democrat Debbie Mercarsel Powell, who lost re-election in 2020, said, quote, "Unfortunately, the Democratic Party has in some ways lost touch with our electorate. There's an assumption that, of course, people of color or the working class are going to vote Democrat. We can never assume anything." Well, isn't that the truth? What was the point of this article, though? There was a reason I did it, and I can't remember why. Oh, just that it'll be interesting because the mayor's race is there are people in the mayor's race who are just pointing out these flaws in the de Blasio era, and the fact that crime is rising. That it's not a given that they're going to vote for another progressive who thinks we should just let the criminals go or whatever. So that's interesting. I'll leave the article open or in the tabs. I'm not going to get into it too deep. But also, a majority of New Yorkers want more police on the street. Oh, goodness gracious. After a whole year of talking about defunding police, this is out of the Washington Free Beacon. Large majority of likely voters in New York City's Democratic mayoral primary want more cops on the street, according to a recent New York One Ipsos poll. 72% of likely voters polled in May agree with the statement the NYPD should put more officers on the street, and 46% said crime and violence is the main problem facing the Big Apple. Spurred by shifting public sentiment over skyrocketing rates of violent crime, Democratic mayoral candidates have abandoned calls from the left wing of their party to defund the police. Eric Adams, the Brooklyn borough president and black former police officer, has blamed a lot of young, white, affluent people for the slogan. Andrew Yang, who failed in his 2020 as a Democratic presidential candidate, has told voters that defund the police is the wrong approach for New York City. So, seems like the people of New York are just starting to say the same thing they're saying in a lot of cities. Hey, this whole defund the police thing? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway. Oh, remember the whistleblower in Florida, Rebecca Jones? Well, she just got kicked off of Twitter. You can read about it, but I don't care. She's the one who said that DeSantis or somebody in DeSantis' office told her to manipulate the COVID data, right? And then come to find out, she had no access to the COVID data. Even if someone had asked her to alter it, she did not have the means to do it. But then she said later in interviews that she never said it. When she did say it, it was on camera. Everybody knew you said it. Well, now she's been messing around with something about viewer counts on Twitter. She was manipulating them and using either hiring bots or something to make her look bigger than she was. She's not. She's done. Bye. Goodbye. And then she opened another Twitter account that said not Rebecca Jones or something like that, and they caught her and they suspended that one too. So she may not be coming back to Twitter. And FTG. If it was FTG Thursday, FTG Rebecca Jones. All right, last couple articles here. Let's see. Touchdown looks really bad. Oh, Fox turned out an ad from Midas Touch, apparently left-leaning political action committee that sought to place an advertisement featuring the January 6th Capitol riot on Fox News, throwing hundreds of thousands towards the initiative, but the media outlet turned it down. Midas Touch, which bills itself as a progressive next-generation super PAC media company, spent $184,854 on a television ad. The ad included videos of the riot and rebuked the GOP for supposedly downplaying what had happened, titled the ad, GOP Betrayed America. Fox News turned down the large sum of money, instructing the group that the January 6th fear porn would not be permitted on air. Law enforcement is depicted in the video, as well as CNN host Don Lemon, and at the end of the minute-long ad, the words, "The GOP betrayed America," is shown. So here's this stupid ad. You can let's try to get through.
I'm proud of the officers I worked with on January 6th. They fought extremely hard.
Our worst nightmare really come true, an attack on American democracy right here in the nation's
capital. Now, notice they shoot that picture. Makes it look like there's fires, doesn't it? Does it look like there's a fire down there? Like, you know how Antifa always sets some dumpsters on fire or whatever? You know what that is? The police were using flashbangs and I don't know if it was tear gas, but some sort of dispersal smoke. There's no fire there, but they keep trying to make it look like there was one. This is called gaslighting. There was no fire there. Anyway.
Experienced the most brutal.
And this dude has been on CNN so many times. And I don't necessarily blame him for telling his story, but there's clearly an agenda. It's just weird.
Savage, hand-to-hand combat of my entire life.
I received chemical burns to my face that still have not healed to this day.
I just remember people still swinging metal poles at us, and they were pushing and shoving, they were spraying us.
Okay, now I'm still waiting for the ad of and again, this isn't even whataboutism, but because well, it is whataboutism, but I don't care. Nobody seems to care of these people from the violence that has been going since last May, a year ago May, in cities all across America where there, haven't there been 30 some people killed, including officers? There were officers killed after the George Floyd thing in cities around America. And hey, like I said, anyone who committed assaults in this particular riot, hey, go ahead, throw them in jail. But this is an agenda thing. You know what I mean? This is all about agenda. Anyway, let's look at the rest of this stuff.
With, bear mace and pepper spray.
They were all shouting at us, calling us traitors.
It's been very difficult seeing elected officials and other individuals whitewash the events of that day or downplay what happened.
As an American,
again, you're right. They shouldn't downplay it. The people who actually committed assaults should be arrested and put in jail. But seems to me that we're finding out there was no plan, and the main charges that they're getting for most of these people: trespassing, disorderly conduct, and the only person who died as a result of the riots was one of the people protesters. And it was a mostly peaceful protest. They're making the big deal about these 400-some people that did this stuff, but there was 10,000, 20,000 people in there for Trump's rally. And so, and the damage. Now they said $1.6 million in damage, which we don't know what that means. We don't know specifically what that was. So anyway. Well, I mean, you are traitors. Well, Fat Joe, who are traitors? Be specific. Who are traitors? Oh, the police?
and as an Army veteran, it's sad to see us attacked by our fellow citizens.
But there've been officers have been attacked by fellow citizens all around the country. And again, I don't condone the knuckleheads who did this, but damn. Midas Touch sure likes this particular one because, it's not anyone from their side. Is that what it is? So that's the ad that...
Midas Touch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We will never forget. We will never forget what? We will never forget what? They want this so bad to be like 9/11 or the Oklahoma. I mean, who was it? I saw one of the guys I used to follow. He's called the Devil's Advocate on YouTube. Put up some post where he was asking. What did he ask? Let me see if I can find it. Because I was kind of annoyed by this. If I can find where I did this. Let me find it here real quick. It might take me longer than I thought. Here we go. So, this dude put up one of these posts where he said, do you think the people still defending the storming of the U.S. Capitol realize that downplaying the event or comparing it to other riots is like saying murder happens all the time, so if I murdered the president, it's exactly the same? And then he gives you two choices of answers. Yes, because they're disingenuous scum, and the other answer is no, because they're not that intelligent. And I thought, that's, if you want to talk about being disingenuous, and here's the thing here where he did that. I'm thinking, first of all, so the people still defending the storming of the Capitol. Do you know anyone who is defending the storming of the Capitol? Do you hear anyone who's thinking that, that was a great idea? Anybody? Even the people who were there probably are now saying, that was a dumb idea. I don't know of anybody who's defending the storm of the Capitol. So that's what I asked. Who is defending it? And came back with, is this a serious question? Yeah, it is a serious question. Who's defending it? Okay. And so I said, yes, who's defending it? What significant swath of people are out there saying the Capitol riots were a good thing? As for comparing it to other events in history being considered downplaying this event, most people doing that are in response to people like the current president of the United States, echoed by Anderson Cooper and Rachel Maddow, stating this was the worst political violence since the Civil War. Well, that begs the question, where does the January 6th protest or riot rank among the political bombings, assassination attempts, occupations of buildings, arson, attempted arsons, and other protests and riots both at the Capitol and throughout the nation since the Civil War? The fact that people are describing this event as an armed insurrection is almost comical, seeing as so far the most common charges to be leveled against are trespassing and disorderly conduct. At least you call it what it was, a riot by a bunch of dumbasses. Yep. So now apparently he's finally answered. PDawgKnight, there were fucking Facebook groups with this shit. I'm not listening to you lie. Do it again and get the yeet, you disingenuous fuckhead. There were loads of people defending it. You know it. Stop fucking lying, you piece of shit. Really? I do have a response for that. Because, there's not a lot. Who's defending it? Anybody know? Anybody hear of anyone defending it? I don't think so. I know of zero people defending it. What people are defending is the claim that it was not the most egregious attack on our democracy. People who broke the law on January 6th should be prosecuted. That's exactly what I'm saying. Really, there were Facebooks with this shit. Defending it? Well, show me the Facebook group then, sir. What Facebook group? Links or it doesn't exist? Anyway, and it's funny because I used to follow this guy and he streams every once in a while. He averages about 2 people a stream. I don't know what happened to him, but suddenly he's totally anti-cop, and which I don't care. It's okay to be anti-cop. There's a lot of people who are anti-cop, but his arguments are just shit. So it's hard to follow him anymore. But I'll have an answer for him a little bit later. Anyway. But the idea that this was one of the greatest attacks on our democracy or the worst political violence since the Civil War, talk about disingenuous, as if it's even in the top 20. It's not even the fact that there have been bombings at the Capitol, the fact that the Capitol building has been occupied by protesters more than once, the fact that people were shot from the Senate or the House of Representatives gallery in the past. This is not even close to any of that. Yes, they got into fights with police during the riot outside. Yes, they came in the building, they did some damage, which is terrible. They should all be prosecuted. But the idea that this is even close to the worst political violence since the Civil War? Open a damn history book. Dude should be fucking embarrassed. Yeet me. Yeet me. One of your 7 followers? Give me a break. Moron. All right. I'm going to finish up. You're gonna have to watch this one yourself. This Dutch politician was warning about the path we're on because of COVID and how we've become lemmings. And it'll be in the links in the description down below, because ladies and gentlemen, and I'm out of time. So, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. I'm a little annoyed with that reply from that dickhead. And so I'm going to call it a day. Anyway, thank you all for being here today at the Morning Night Live. I greatly appreciate the support and the everything you all do. If you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button and share the stream and all that stuff. And you can, if you want to support the show as a sponsor, the information is in the description down below. Thank you, GunFox61, for sponsoring the show today. I greatly appreciate that, and also your continued help with the server, with the Discord server. I am also, I will get that article from USA Today about Amazon is also going to be in the tabs. So Amazon apparently is about to share your internet connection with neighbors, and here's how to turn it off. Apparently they have some kind of technology buried inside the Amazon Echo smart speaker and Ring security cameras. They have the ability to make a new kind of wireless network called Sidewalk. That shares a slice of your home internet connection with your neighbor's devices. So you got to learn how to turn that off. It's a pretty important article that you need to read. It'll be the last link in my one tab link when I add that to the show at the bottom of right after the show's over. Real quick, lately the propaganda, just probably people know January 6th was not horrific as I stated. And Fat Joe walking in Princeton's Capitol building as they tax paying U.S. citizens own protests peacefully. I support, but I don't support the breaking of the windows at Northern Structure. Exactly. Nobody does. Nobody is defending the riot part of the protest. Anyway, GunFox61, thank you for one more almost 5, aka a $4.99, who says the idea of the protest at the Capitol was a good idea, but once they went up to the steps and in is where the good ideas ended. But what the administration is doing to them is so unconstitutional, it's not even funny. Does it not mean I'm defending the actions? Exactly. And on that note, I'm going to call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I know this is going to be an abrupt stop, but I got to go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.